let you have your freedom. Let's solve some trig equations. You have already done this a little bit, right? So let's say, here's what you've already done. We should be able to do this. Let's say solve cosine x equals root 2 over 2 if x is between 0 and pi over 2. We've already done those types of problems. So first thing you notice is this is in radians. So your answer needs to be in radians. Okay. So what value of x makes cosine root 2 over 2? On the unit circle.
45?
Yeah, in radians.
Pi over 4.
Okay, yeah, so.
Oh, it's less than 90.
Right, so you've already solved those types of equations.
For sure. If it gave you something that said like, if x is between 0 and 1 over 2, or no,
Let's say
1 over 2.
cosine x equals
Well, like I'm saying,
root
like
2 over 2, and x is between 360 and 0.
Oh,
What does that do to your answer
gives
possibilities?
you a lot.
Okay, so first of all, we're in degrees, right? So what's your first thought here?
135.
45. Same answer is up here.
45.
What else though?
135.
Oh, it's just going to be 115, 315.
135.
Listen to her.
Because 7 ones are negative.
Exactly.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, so
Oh, x might be.
you're in the unit circle. These are where cosine is positive.
Yes.
I wrote that wrong. Ow. Pet shots suck. Okay, but over here, cosine's negative, right? So we don't consider those. And so there's how you might change your answers on that one. Let's see what that means. Your book, and I'm not going to put a lot of stock in this, but the directions will ask you for principal values. Okay. Nowhere else have I ever seen the term besides in our book. Right? So if you see the directions and it says solve for the principal values of x. Okay. For cosine, basically what it does is it gives you an interval from 0 to 180. Okay, that's so if you see the phrase principal values, know this is your interval for cosine. Okay.
Always.
Yep. For sine and tangent, the principal values are from negative 90 to 90. Okay. Again, I don't put a lot of stock in it. I'm not going to ask you that on the test, but that's what your book directions will have in there. So just look at your notes for those intervals. Okay. Okay. Let's step it up a little bit. What if, let's see, solve cosine times tangent equals 1/2, and x is 0 to 180. This is where identity skills are going to come into play. What do I do with tangent?
Cosine and sine.
Yeah, change the sine to cosine, right? So what is it?
Cosine of x times sine of x.
Okay. And?
Cancel.
Yeah, those will cancel, right?
Do it with
So
sine.
we have sine x equals a half. Where is that true?
That could be at 30 degrees or 330 degrees.
30 and 150. Thank you, Ben. Notice the interval, right? 0 to 180. We do not need to worry about anything else. Sine is positive 1/2. Unit circle at these two locations.
Oh, you're so right.
Okay, that's so. So you're gonna be using your unit circle knowledge a lot. All right, let's see here. Solve. Okay, here's another one that should be pretty straightforward. What you got? What's your first thought?
Okay, sine.
Don't need to go that far. We're going to solve this as an algebra equation. See? Yeah, add root 3. Right. So think about it, kind of think about it like this. If this was 3x minus root 3, what would you do first?
Oh,
You're going to add root 3 over, right? Same thing here. So 3 tan x is root 3. Now what would you do? Yeah. Same deal. Okay, so tan x equals root 3 over 3. Right. So you can solve those the same as any algebraic equation that you've had in the past. Then the trig comes in, whereas tangent root 3 over 3. Okay. Remember, the tangent is y over x.
Oh.
Right.
is that the,
Maybe this will help.
no,
Root 3 over 3 is the same as 1 over root 3. If you're on your unit circle, that's the answer it'll give you directly when you divide. So if we deconstruct that, that's what we're looking for. See how I've worked my way backwards? I've reverse engineered it. So cosine's a half and sine is root 3 over 2.
Where'd you get the 1/2?
Yeah, 60 degrees and keeping in mind those can also both be negative to make a positive result.
wow, that's pretty fun.
Okay.
Where'd you get the 1/2 to simplify?
This?
Yeah.
Well, you think through what your values on the unit circle are. You can have 0 and 1, root 2 over 2, 1/2, or root 3 over 2. Can I make that fraction with any combination of those? That's what I did. Okay. Yeah, not the easiest thing to do. Right? Okay, so those are kind of the easier trig equations that you'll have to solve. First page we've done before, the second one here would be new stuff, the easier kind of new stuff. Okay. Let's look at a couple of kind of medium hard ones, or medium ones. And tomorrow we'll look at a couple of medium and hard ones. So. Okay, again, thinking through this as an algebraic equation, you might if you saw this algebraic equation, what would you do with the x?
We're dividing.
Subtract.
By half. Subtract. Add.
You want to subtract this, add this,
Add.
add, multiply, divide.
All the above.
Every single one.
Okay. If there's an x in each term, what can I do with that x? It's a big F word. Factor. Okay, so keep in mind, can you add the half x? You'll still get a result.
Yeah.
But you're going to be missing one answer. I think I told you that before. If you can factor, you have to factor. So what can I factor out here? Cosine x. Okay. You keep that in mind. I can factor a cosine x out. What's left? Right?
Wait.
Okay, so
We got it.
what are we trying now?
We're gonna divide both.
Cosine x equals 0, or
Yeah.
sine x minus 1/2 equals 0.
On the right should be better.
When you multiply two terms, one of them has to be 0 to get 0, right?
Yes.
So we analyze when each of them can be 0. And you can solve those. Whereas cosine 0.
At 90 and 330.
And I didn't put a boundary on this, but we'll just go 0 to 360. And whereas sine equal to half,
Equal half? Oh, okay.
right? Yeah, add the half.
30 and 3. 30, 150.
Okay. So keep your algebra skills in mind here when you're solving these trig equations. Is that factoring? So if you didn't factor, you would not have had either of these answers. This cosine would have disappeared. Bye-bye.
Dang,
See you later. And you get half credit. So you can factor, you need to factor. Right. Here's another one. Let's solve this equation. Go. I'm thinking through this because I'm making it up on the fly here. So. I don't like that.
We did great with these two.
X.
Telling you.
No. Okay, let's make it that.
Put 2 sin x.
Yep. I think it's gonna work.
Algebra will do it.
Okay, again, thinking through this as an algebraic equation. X squared plus 2x plus 1, what would you do?
-1,
Oh, you're fine.
please.
It's quadratic, so what are our solution methods? Number 1, you want to try factoring. Can I factor this?
Yeah. 1.
1 and 1.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, factor it. Sin x plus 1 and sin x plus 1. You see how those work with each other?
Yeah.
So you can solve the algebra equation, then just throw sine or cosine back in if you want.
That's pretty genius.
Okay, so what do I have to have here? These are the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just need sin x plus 1 equals 0. So where is sin x equal to -1?
-1.
Silence befalls.
Oh, that would be at 270 degrees.
Okay,
Is that our answer?
that's it. I didn't give you a boundary there, of course, but is that enough for today?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
No homework.
We got a comedian in the room.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're going over this stuff tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to give it to you so you can start if you want. It's not due tomorrow. Okay. It's not even due Thursday. How about that?
Hey, that's even better.
Let me guess. Like 30 problems. Okay. So normally I would give you this to be done tomorrow, but I'm not because of the basketball games. Okay, so if you have time, you can start by doing 5 through 9. If you have questions tomorrow, I can answer those. But none of this is due until Friday. Okay, I will show you more of these tomorrow. Thursday I'll be gone. The math extravaganza. So you'll have some algebra practice. This is what I'm going to give you. Not some, lots. And Friday we'll talk about this. Friday we'll test review, and Tuesday of next week will be your test, barring disaster.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll post that test review on Classroom as soon as possible, so you can start studying if you want.
Can I do the homework at 7.4 and set it? Can I still get like a 2 or 3 or something?
You can still get a score.
I'll do it.
Go math.
I forgot that we had it.
Again, this is the meat of what we're doing this chapter. If you understand this, I'm a happy camper. Okay? If you can solve trig equation, this is the biggest skill you need to have moving on to next year.